World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, but it was also one of the most inventive. When survival was on the line, engineers and scientists from every nation pushed the limits of imagination, and sometimes sanity. From flying tanks and pigeon-guided missiles, to ice aircraft carriers and bat bombs, these are 20 of the strangest and weirdest weapons of World War II that almost changed everything. Number 1. The Great Panjadrum. Our first bizarre invention comes from the British, a weapon straight out of a cartoon. The Great Panjadrum was a massive, rocket-propelled, wheeled packed with explosives. It was designed to roll up the beach and blow holes in Nazi defenses during D-Day. Sounds clever, right? Except in tests, it went berserk, spinning out of control, scattering rockets and nearly killing the observers. If it had worked, it could have cleared the Atlantic walls in seconds. Instead, it cleared out everyone watching. Number 2. The Bat Bomb. The United States had its own stroke of mad genius, or madness. The bat bomb involved releasing thousands of bats, each carrying a miniature incendiary charge. The idea? The bats would roost inside Japan's wooden buildings and set off thousands of fires simultaneously. It actually worked in testing. A mock city burned to the ground. But the project was cancelled in favor of something even bigger, the atomic bomb. Had it been deployed, Japan might have faced a night of fire from above, delivered by bats. Number 3. The Project Pigeon. If bats weren't enough, how about pigeons controlling missiles? B.F. Skinner, a famous psychologist, trained pigeons to peck at images of enemy ships. Their pecks actually steered the bomb towards its target, a sort of feathery autopilot system. And it worked. The pigeons could accurately guide a bomb mid-flight, but generals didn't take it seriously. One famously said, "You expect us to entrust the war to pigeons." The project was shelved, but it was an early vision of today's smart bomb technology. So next time you see a pigeon, remember they almost made history. Number 4. The Explosive Rat. British intelligence came up with one of the strangest sabotage ideas ever, the explosive rat. Special operations stuffed dead rats with plastic explosives and planned to scatter them near German factories. The hope? Workers would toss the carcasses into boilers for disposal, triggering devastating blasts. The plan was discovered before it could be used, but the psychological effect was massive. German troops spent weeks inspecting every rat they saw. It's a bizarre reminder that in wartime, even the smallest creatures can play a deadly role in the fight for victory. Number 5. The Hortenho 229. Germany's Hortenho 229 was unlike anything the Allies had seen. A jet-powered flying wing that looked decades ahead of its time. Its design reduced radar cross-section, meaning it was stealthy. It could fly faster than almost any Allied aircraft. If it had reached mass production, it might have tipped the air war. Today, aviation experts consider it the world's first stealth jet, the ancestor of the B-2 Spirit bomber. Number 6. The Rat Supertank. Next up, a tank so huge it was basically a battleship on land. The Land Cruiser P-1000 Rat, weighing 1,000 tons and armed with naval guns. It would have been unstoppable until it ran out of fuel, or bridges. In fact, it was so impractical, Hitler's generals cancelled it before a single bolt was forged. If built, it would have been a marvel and a massive target, the definition of too much tank. Number 7. The Antonov A-40 flying tank. The Soviets took the phrase airborne assault very literally. They attached glider wings to a T-60 tank, creating a flying tank that could be towed by a bomber and glide into battle. On its only test, the aircraft barely stayed airborne and crash-landed, but the pilot survived. If they had solved the towing issues, the Red Army might have dropped tanks behind every enemy lines. Meet the Krumlov, a gun barrel bent at 30, 45, or even 90 degrees. allowing soldiers to shoot around corners. It was surprisingly functional at short range, though bullets shattered after a few shots. It even had a periscope sight from aiming from cover. Modern corner-shot weapons? They owe their idea to this wartime curiosity. Number 9. The Kugelpanzer. When the Soviets captured a small spherical vessel in 1945, they had no idea what it was. It rolled on two metal halves, with room for a single pilot. To this day, its purpose is a mystery. Theories range from scout vehicle to communication cable layer. One thing is certain, it is one of the strangest armored designs ever built. Number 10. The Wind Cannon. The wind cannon was a weapon of air, literally. It was designed to use compressed air blasts to knock enemy planes out of the sky. In reality, the physics didn't hold up. Air just isn't dense enough to destroy a plane. Still, it showed how far desperation could push wartime innovation. Number 11. The Have-to-Lay-Down Magnetic Mine. This was a sticky anti-tank grenade using magnets to cling to armor. It was one of the first shaped charged explosives, a technology still used in modern anti-tank weapons today. Sometimes, the weirdest ideas survive the war and shape the future. Number 12. The Fizzler Fi-103R Reichenberg. This was the manned version of the V-1 rocket, a suicide jet designed for one-way missions. Pilots were expected to steer towards the target and bail at the last second, which was impossible. Germany abandoned the idea, but it showed how desperate their late war strategy had become. Number 13. The Project Habakkuk. This British-Canadian project aimed to build an aircraft carrier out of ice. Yes, ice. Engineers discovered picrete, a mix of wood pulp and ice tougher than steel. They envisioned an unsinkable floating base in the Atlantic. Tests were promising until cost, practicality, and melting problems ended it. Still, it is one of the most ambitious engineering ideas of the war. Number 14. The Anti-Tank Dogs. The Soviet Union trained dogs to carry explosives under enemy tank. The plan? Dog runs under tank. The bomb detonates. But many dogs, terrified by battle, ran backwards to their own handlers. A tragic example of how desperation breeds disturbing ideas. Number 15. The Himmelsstürmer jetpack. Long before Iron Man, the Germans were experimenting with rocket-assisted jetpacks. The Himmelsstürmer was meant to help soldiers leap trenches or escape combat zones. Fuel limits and safety concerns, as in you might explode, killed the project. Still, the idea of personal flight never died. Number 16. The Sonic Vibration Weapon. Japanese scientists allegedly experimented with sound-based weapons. High-frequency waves meant to disable engines or cause internal damage to humans and animals. Most documentation was destroyed after the war, but reports suggest early acoustic research that foreshadowed today's non-lethal sonic weapons. It is a mysterious, eerie finale to our list of World War II's strangest innovations. Number 17. The ice torpedoes. Italian engineers had a cold idea. Torpedoes made of ice explosives. They'd melt after hitting their targets, leaving no evidence, except, of course, they melted before reaching their targets. Frozen weapons, a cool idea that didn't hold water. Number 18. The Japanese fire balloons. Between 1944 and 1945, Japan launched over 9,000 hydrogen balloons carrying bombs towards North America. A few actually made it. One killed 6 civilians in Oregon. The only World War II deaths on US soil. It was so silent, drifting threat across an ocean, and a strange reminder that even the wind can be weaponized. Number 19. Churchill Crocodile Flamethrower Tank. Now here's one that did see combat. The Churchill Crocodile was a flame-spewing monster, projecting liquid fire over 100 yards. German soldiers feared it more than anything. Not exactly weird, just terrifyingly effective. proof that sometimes the strangest ideas actually work. Number 20. The railgun. Germany experimented with weapons that seemed straight out of science fiction, including a railgun prototype. Instead of explosives, it used powerful electromagnetic forces to launch projectiles at incredible speeds, far faster than conventional artillery. The concept promised devastating range and firepower, capable of obliterating targets with sheer kinetic energy. However, technological limitations, scarce resources, and even the chaos of war prevented it from leaving the lab. Today, the prototype remains a glimpse of what could have been, a deadly weapon decade ahead of its time, proving that the Nazi engineers were willing to push physics to the extreme. Some of these ideas were insane, others were glimpses of the future. If just one of them had worked as intended, history might have been very different. Which of these weapons do you think actually could have changed the war? Comment below, and if you enjoyed this dive into World War II's weirdest secrets, hit subscribe for more forgotten history.